Okay? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to get you doing an intro on the other side.
Yeah. Well, I could do one now. This is Lonesome George Thurgood from the Delaware Destroyers, and we're over here in Passaic, New Jersey today. We're featuring one of the premier blues guitarists in the United States, if not the world, the one and only Elvin Bishop. Nice to be with you, Elvin.
Howdy.
Elvin came all the way in from San Francisco, took time out from his busy schedule to share a little of his theories and thoughts about the blues world and the music world. And I first personally became aware of Elvin through the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, which is probably one of the hottest, if not the hottest, blues band in the country, one of the first to play electric blues. And Elvin, if it's not prying too much, if you'd like to go into any of that, how any of that got started, or how you got interested in playing that sort of music.
Well, I was in Chicago in the early 60s. I came from Oklahoma. That's my home. And blues scene was happening then. I used to go around and see Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf,
Okay,
Buddy Guy.
We got to start from the top. I'm sorry.
Hey, we're rolling,
I
man.
know you were rolling in, but we missed the first few words.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, you can always do that again, can't you?
Yeah, that was great.
It was real good.
Okay.
It's fine.
See, you can't rehearse the truth, you know. There's only so many times you know what I mean?
We'll change the truth a little bit.
Gary, just
We don't tell it that often, that's right.
quiet. Gary, say when you're ready.
We got speed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just wait a minute. Okay, everybody ready? Okay. Whenever you're ready, then George.
Hello out to all you happy people. This is Lonesome George Thurgood from the Delaware Destroyers, and bringing you this live show from Passaic, New Jersey, a show all about the blues. And with me to my right, a gentleman who is known throughout the world as one of the premier blues guitarists, the one and only Elvin Bishop. Elvin, great to have you here.
Howdy, George.
Elvin took out time out from his busy schedule with his band to come all the way from San Francisco to share some of his thoughts and theories on blues and the music world in general. So Elvin, if it's not prying too much, I'd like to know a little bit, I'm sure the people out there would too, about how you got started playing blues and how you got involved with Paul Butterfield, and just any thoughts you'd like to share with us.
I started getting interested in blues. My home's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when I was a teenager, and I used to hear John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters on the radio. And I moved to Chicago, and those guys were actually playing there, so I kind of went down to the blues joints and hung out. They let me sit in after I got good enough and all that.
Is that why you moved to Chicago? Because they were there?
Yeah.
That's what attracted you that
It really was, yeah.
It's great. That's a good break for you that scene was happening. When I first started listening to blues, I listened to them through just records. Listening on the radio was nothing but top 40 or contemporary music at that time. So you heard them in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the radio?
Yeah.
At a Chicago station?
No, they had the station at WLAC from Nashville
Uh-huh.
that you could get late at night.
All right. So what'd you do, sneak up in your room, turn that thing on? And
That's what I did.
uh-huh. And you became an aspiring blues guitarist in Chicago.
That's about it.
Uh-huh. Well, how did you get involved with Paul Butterfield and Michael Bloomfield and those kind of people?
They were doing the same thing I was. They were, going down and in the ghetto and checking out the blues guys, and we gradually got together and started jamming and everything, and got good enough to make a living at it, and I went to school right there.
That's great. I have to say, I have quite a few blues albums, and I always, and people come to me, youngsters or whatever, and say, what can you tell me for a great blues record? And I always say, well, you got to buy both the Robert Johnson records, and you got to buy this album by John Lee or this album by B.B. King. But one album I always mention is the Paul Butterfield album. For my own taste, that is probably one of the, I don't know, you cut the thing, and maybe you might not share that, but I heard it, and to this day I still listen to it, and note for note, from beginning to end, flawless.
That makes me feel good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. Some outstanding work on that. So after your Chicago days, I guess you drifted into your own thing. You got your own band together, and you ran into you were in the southern area with Dickie Betts, Dwayne Allman, some of those people.
Yeah.
And put your band together. That's when I first started coming around to see play.
Right.
And how did all that happen?
Well, we were on the road someplace on the East Coast, I believe, and I met, we did a concert with the Allman Brothers, and I met Dickie and Dwayne. We just got to be friends and everything, and they got me a record contract, and
Great.
that helped out a lot.
And the record contract, that was, I guess that was in the early 70s.
Yeah.
We met them jamming in the Fillmore. I remember seeing a great show at the Fillmore East with Elvin Bishop Band, Paul Butterfield, and B.B. King all
Right.
three of you, and
Right.
you ended up jamming to about 5 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but personally, myself and a couple of guys in our band, we've been checking you guys out. And I first got to meet Elvin in a club called the Last Day Saloon in San Francisco. I didn't know whether this guy was even going to like me or know about me or anything, and got me up there to play a...
He's a good guy.
Well, anyway, we got up there and played a Hank Williams tune, and Elvin, thanks for coming down here. Is there anything else you'd like to lay on the people? I'm sure they'd love to hear it.
I'm happy just the way it is.
Okay.
Stop tape.
How we doing?
Good.
Doing good. You?
So you're rolling, Gary?
I have speed, John.
Thank you. John, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'll start on Elvin this time.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. So Elvin, a lot of cats come up to me, young cats, starting out in the music business. They want to know how to get started, and they're having problems or whatever. Did you have any problems when you were first getting started? Any ways you got around certain things?
Yeah, my advice would be don't do it like I did it.
Well, how did you do it?
I had a hell of a time getting started. My folks didn't want me to be into music. Nobody in my family was musical. I wasn't no good at first. And people kept asking me to request like Far, Far Away. Can you play Far, Far Away?
Well, I find that hard to believe.
Can you play a solo? You know, solo, we can't hear it.
Right.
And like that. And I started trying to go to college, and the music knocked out in about a year's time. And I had jobs like I worked in the oil fields and the steel mills, and just because I wasn't good enough to make a living.
That's really working.
That's working.
That's working.
Yeah, I don't mind working, but I'd rather be working on something I want to do. You know, like the music. And there was a period of about 3 or 4 years where I just wasn't good enough to make a living at it.
What'd you do during those 3 or 4 years?
I worked, and some more hard jobs like that. And I even had a job in New York breaking toys.
Breaking toys.
Yeah.
Don't you like children or something? And
I love children.
they paid you to do this.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on this at all?
Well, it was during the winter time, and I was stuck in New York. I didn't have any money, and I was staying in this place without any heat, freezing to death. And I had to get some kind of job. I walked all over town. I finally got a job in the department store. They said, "We're going to put you in this little room back here, and we want you to break these toys and put them in these boxes here." And what it was, that the toys they couldn't sell from last year, they need to make some room on the shelves for the new toys this year. So you break the toys, stick them in a box, and label it damaged upon arrival, and send it back to the manufacturer and get your money back, you know. And then sometimes they'd have us take it out to orphanages, and they'd take it off the taxes.
This never occurred to you that this might be illegal or something?
I needed a job. Too bad to be asking questions.
I understand. Well, that's definitely a new twist. So you were living the blues, cold in the place. It wasn't just learning a few songs, getting a band together. It takes years to do this kind of thing. And I guess you're a sterling example of that.
I reckon.
Well, there you have it, straight from the mouth of Elvin Bishop. So, you know, one thing I would like to know, as far as, you know, what I liked about your music is you were one of the few people, maybe the only cat I know, that could combine so well country blues with urban blues in your style, though you play an electric guitar and I've heard you play acoustic. Who are some of your people? I know you like B.B. King, and I know you love Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker. Who are some of your people in the, say, country blues field? You know what I'm talking about.
My two big favorites were always John Lee Hooker and Lightning Hopkins. And I couldn't, like I said, I didn't have any musical background, and my ear couldn't take in any more than something real simple like that at first, just one guy and a guitar.
Exactly.
Then gradually moved up to Jimmy Reed and Muddy Waters, 'cause that was a little easier to take. And then finally, the first time I heard B.B. King, I thought it was jazz. That's how uneducated my ear was.
Well, basically, a lot of those cats, Lightning Hopkins, Muddy Waters, they're technically country pickers, and they just changed to electric guitar.
Right.
Muddy Waters is like a Robert Johnson style, and
it'd be like if Robert Johnson got him an amp or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put a band to it. I think the country blues or acoustic blues, I call, is a field that gets highly overlooked. And like I say, in your music, when you play with a band, I hear those sounds in there, and I really respect that. And I think you do a great job of it.
All right.
Midnight Hour Blues is one of your.
You like that one?
Love it. Love it. Okay.
Good. The observations about music today.
Oh.
If you could do that.
What are blues to you?
Whatever, that'll be the last, right? And then as well as, do you know what song you're gonna play on stage at the...
Well, we were talking about one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer, if that's...
So let's talk a little bit about the song. You might be able to use it as a segue into it. Okay. So we'll go from observations about music today to talk a little bit about the tune you're gonna do tonight.
Okay.
And then we got one other quick question.
I could ask George, what do you like to have before you go on
Can you
to
turn
do
the
your
guitar a
show?
little bit? I'm getting a kick off of the neck.
Do it.
Turn that, yeah.
Keep
That'll
some,
do
yeah.
it.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get maybe.
I can't. I'm nervous.
I'm starting close on Elvin. All right, roll the tape.
Gary, whenever you're ready. Yes, please.
We have speed.
Thank you. Whenever
Who was that Midnight Hour Blues by again? What's the guy's name?
Leroy Carr.
Yeah,
You have
Leroy
speed?
Carr.
Okay, George, what do you mean?
Okay, sitting here chatting with Elvin Bishop, something I've been waiting for a long time to do, not too long, but long. So Elvin would discuss the blues and your influences and people you've enjoyed listening to. Unlike myself, I'm sure you're aware of what's going on today in the music business and the music scene and MTV, what have you, and FM radio. Is there anybody you hear, or any type of music you hear today that's happening that does anything for you? I don't know if it gives you the same kick as Muddy Waters would, but anything that catches your ear and makes you smile.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of the names of the new groups. I shouldn't say that, but you got to forgive me. I've been around since the Dead Sea was sick, you know. I like George Thorogood pretty good. And
well, I'm not exactly new.
you know, the pop, it's just that I'm not strictly a pop music person, you know. It's like I didn't like the pop music that was on when I was in high school. I didn't like it when I was in college. I didn't like it 10 years ago, and I don't like it today, especially. I hear 3 or 4 things every hour if you're listening to the top 40 station.
Yeah.
That sounds okay, but American music doesn't really change, you know. It just kind of dresses different every year, you know what I
Right.
mean? You got your country roots, and you got your blues roots. And that's, you know.
I hear you on that. I can understand. No, I can understand that. I like you know, it's like every year it just seems to get faster, or it's like you say, it changes its clothes like a fashion clothes. Someone
Right.
says it a different way. Our band first happened, for instance, we didn't change anything. We were basically doing what John Hammond was doing. You know, 10 years before, we were just doing a little faster and doing maybe a few different tunes, and that's in blues. But that's what I usually stick to too, with the blues. So tonight we're gonna get together and jam. We're gonna have the pleasure of having Elvin Bishop jam with the Delaware Destroyers. Elvin was nice enough to ask me to play with his band, and we're gonna do I believe it's an Amos Milburn tune originally, wasn't
That's
it?
what it is.
Yeah, and I learned it off a John Lee Hooker album, Live at the Cafe Go-Go. 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, and 1 beer. Right? And what's the last thing? You want what the blues are to Elvin?
Yeah, we're gonna do, I'll just get one. Let's see, I think a close-up is better for you, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Something like that, just
Yeah.
set it up. You can say it right into the camera, what the blues are. What are the blues?
Boy, this is a rough one. Would you describe the universe in several words, please?
Well, that's a good answer.
Okay, you know what the blues is to me is recycling. You take bad feelings, rough emotions caused by bad experiences, and make a beautiful song out of it. And you've made something good out of garbage.
Great.
That's good. You make something good out of garbage.
It's
Wow.
beautiful.
That's great stuff.
That's it. Now.
Yeah.
Great, man.
All right.
We're gonna do the 2-shot on the side. Joe. That's it.
Okay.